Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/ProRevenge. In today's episode, send the police for everything? Okay. You want all my expenses submitted? Even the ones that I know I won't get reimbursed for? If I could just get past. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Send the police for everything? Okay. So, after spending 4 years as a retail guard, mall cop, I got an ankle injury that put an end to my ability to walk around for long periods of time. I destroyed all the cartilage in my left ankle, so it was bone-on-bone grinding action. Just happened from years of pounding the pavement. I was a full-time employee through the company, so they had to provide me with 40 hours of work a week. If they couldn't provide work, I still got paid. They started me with light duties at head office, which ended up getting me noticed by the company's alarm monitoring division. I was upskilled on my license and put in their division. For those that don't know what an alarm monitoring division is, it was my job to monitor the alarm system that you have in your house/business/whatever, follow the instructions, and make whatever calls were necessary based on your account setup. We had one type of video alarm system that was motion activated on a dual PIR/heat system. Basically, the system had to see both heat and motion to trigger the alarm. When this system is installed correctly, it is amazing. However, 90% of installations are done how the customer wants it, which means they don't work properly. I was one of 2 people who would finalize the installations of the video alarm systems, which was confirming the locations of the cameras, get some test footage, advise of what needed fixing, etc., etc. So for the actual story in question, I had advised the technician on site that the cameras would constantly false activate, and we wouldn't be able to monitor the system properly. This was passed on to the client, who said that it would be fine, and to leave it where it was. Had it all recorded, advised that excessive false activations would result in sections of the system being disarmed by us, higher battery costs, increased service calls, etc., etc. Customer says that's fine, blah, blah, blah. Finish off the install/setup with the on-site tech. Send an email to the supervisor and manager and place notes in the account. CYA people. One of the main reasons that people chose our company for this particular alarm system is that we won't call people for false alarms unless requested. First night of his alarm system, and it goes crazy with false alarms, big surprise, but no calls are made. Customer calls up after reading their alarm report in the morning demanding to know what we saw on the footage: trees, more trees, traffic on the road outside the property, etc., etc., and why we didn't call. Explain to him, once again, the policies and procedures for this alarm system, and he demands that we call him on every single activation as well as call the police if he doesn't answer. I explained to him that the police won't attend with no verification of people on site, and excessive false calls to the police can result in his property being blacklisted by police dispatch until it's proven that the system is no longer causing false callouts, which can take up to 6 months. Customer doesn't care, just do what I'm paying you to do, okay? We'll call you for everything. 7 p.m. rolls around and the system hasn't armed up. Call the client, ask them if they are still on site, get told that they left 2 hours ago, asks us to remote arm it, so we do. Now the fun begins. 5 minutes later he gets his first call, a car driving past on the main road. I'll be me, client will be C. Me, hi, it's them Morian from XYZ Alarm Monitoring. We just had a video alarm activation, and this is what we see. C, ugh? Seriously? Long, exaggerated sci-fi. I'll go check it out. He didn't ask for the police, score. Me, are you sure? It's just traffic driving past, we can keep monitoring and call you for anything else. See, no, that's okay. I'll go check it out, just call me on anything further. Me, okay, just make sure you call us when you get there, here's our number again. He says he's about 45 minutes away. During that time he gets another 3 calls, all of them for traffic. Then there's the final activation. Someone climbs over the fence and smacks the camera, knocking it to the ground. Whoa, hold up. Shit just got real. I ask the person next to me to start police, and I'll contact the client. I try calling the client 5 times, leaving a message each time, but to no avail. The police had an impressive response time of 5 minutes, usually it's minimum 15 for that area, and they had the furry missile with them. The missile launcher calls us up and asks for the client's ETA and phone number. We advise him that we can't get hold of him, have left multiple messages, and give him his number and his ETA. He advises us that he can see someone moving around and will try calling the client before launching the missile. Well, we wait. And wait. And dash. We have launch. Oh, glorious furry missile. Footage saved. High fives all around, watch it again and again. I wonder when the client will call us back. I got a call about 15 minutes later from the missile launcher, ML SOA. That guy we caught on site. Me, yeah, got it all on camera if you need it? ML, yeah, going to need that, all records of the alarm from start to finish and any call logs. Me, sure. I'll grab your details and pass it on to the manager to send it to you. What happened? ML, the guy on site was the client. He's being taken to hospital for severe lacerations to the arm and leg. Me, what the hell? Don't you guys like call out heaps of times before releasing the K9? ML, sure do. He had headphones and talking to a business partner on his wife's mobile phone, because he left his at home. When he saw me coming towards him, he thought I was a robber trying to attack him, so he ran. Me, internally, wahahahahahaha. Externally, explains to the police officer the entire lead up to him getting there. ML, well, as long as everything on your end lines up to match that, there'll be no issues. Me, yes sir. I hope the paperwork isn't going to be too bad for you, have a good night. ML, thanks, you too. I send an email to the supervisor and manager advising them of what happened, put it in the incident log, save all the relevant footage and continue on. The next day, the client calls up saying how he's going to sue us, etc., etc., etc. The manager had already reviewed everything and played it over and over and over and over again, laughing harder each and every time. Manager says he can't stop him from suing, however the evidence all shows that we did exactly what he wanted, and he was at fault for not notifying us that he was on site. Nothing really happened after that. He kept the alarm system, but put someone else as the contact for the system. The person that knocked off the camera was him. He didn't want to deal with calls all night, because it was a busy road, so he decided that the easiest thing to do would be to remove it. He completely forgot that we could disable the camera, and didn't tell us what he was going to do. He was on the phone to the business partner to get our phone number to advise us he was on site, but didn't want to wait to call us. The furry missile was also fine. You want all my expenses submitted? Even the ones that I know I won't get reimbursed for? This was over a decade ago at the height of the recession. I was working an hourly contract job, as in not an employee, in construction management for a small company with 2 offices, one in NYC and one out a few hours in New Jersey. I lived in Queens, so I had been hoping to base myself out of the NYC office, but the work there was drying up and I needed the job, so I was commuting 2 hours each way every day. If any of you live in that area, you'll know that I was basically spending $50 a day just on Parkway, Turnpike and Bridge tolls. I did this commute for 6 months. One day I found myself in the NYC office to help handle some project work, and one of the supervisors chastised me for not filing my expense reports with all items. I told him that as an hourly contractor, I wasn't entitled to the commute costs, but he was having none of it. Write it all down. We'll sort it out on the other side. Who that we was supposed to be was unclear, considering we were too small to have full-time accountants or HR. So next month I painstakingly added in every single receipt for my commute, some snacks I bought the on-site workers, and even threw in one for 76 cents for a couple brad nails I had gotten for some corner flooring piece. The owner was a really nice guy, but wasn't involved much in the day-to-day. He was a show up at 10 a.m. and leave at 4 p.m. kind of owner. He saw my expense report, which was around $1,800 for the month. When he asked me about it, I told him that most of the costs were from my commute to New Jersey, even though I was mostly doing office work which could be done from anywhere, and that the supervisor told me to put everything in and someone else would sort it out. He realized there wasn't anyone to sort it out and didn't know that my hourly contract didn't qualify me for expenses, and instead asked if I could work in the NYC office from then on and drive to sites only when necessary. Great. Now my commute was just a 15-minute bus ride. This was October. In November the company unceremoniously shut down the New Jersey office and laid everyone off. We transferred all projects to the New York office. Since I was based out of NYC, I wasn't laid off with the rest of the team. I stayed there until I found a slightly better paying contract job in a slightly more related field to my studies. If I could just get past. Years ago, I was part of the founding faculty of a brand new university. I was the facilities director for my department, which meant that, in addition to teaching and doing research, I was responsible for designing and implementing all of the rooms and equipment for the entire department. Labs, student offices, computer rooms. Everything. It was a lot of fun, and I had a great system staff team and facilities department to back me up. Then one day I got wind that one of the people in top management in the university had decided that we were going to move all of our graduate students into a big, open room. The problem, which he was either ignoring or hadn't realized, was that, for these students, the room had to function as both an office and a lab. There had to be room for shared access computers, desks, whiteboards for discussion. All in a few square feet per student. There was no way known that it could be done. The boss held firm though, and insisted that we were just being selfish and stubborn. Enter the malicious compliance. I asked him if he would allow us to do a dry run before we finalized the layout. So we spent 2 full days setting up the room in question, pillaging computers, desks, chairs, tables. Everything we could think of, and setting them up in the least efficient, most convoluted layout we could manage. But there was a problem. For it to be convincing, we needed people, and the number of grad students that we currently had was a fraction of the number that would have to use this room the following semester. Remember, it was a new university. So I did what any good manager would do. I delegated. I gathered the most trusted students and said, at such and such a time, I want this room to be full. I don't care who they are, or if I ever see them again. But make sure there are no empty chairs or desks. So on the appointed day, the big brass showed up with something of a smirk on his face, ready to show the young whippersnapper how a negotiation for space is done. And then he stepped into the room. Or he tried to. He had to physically step over one of the senior students who, of course, apologized for being in the way. He walked sideways through the many twists and turns, past desk after desk, stepping over cables, scooting around printers. I think we may have offered him a cup of coffee at one point, from a coffee pot buried in some obscure corner of the room, but that part is fuzzy. When he finally made it out of the room again, he turned to me with an expression that I won't even try to describe and said, "Okay, you've made your point. We got our second room." A brief addendum after it was all over, and everything was put back together again, I found the lead student and asked who were all of those people. He looked at me with a half smile and said, "I have no idea." If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.